What's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
Oh, bro. Hey, are you done with the shares yet? Because it doesn't matter if it takes you a couple more seconds or whatever. You can finish doing whatever you got to do.
I think I got it. I think I got it. I'll check mine,
Tech
see if it's going on.
technology these days, huh?
And I'm
It's just,
terrible with it, so
dude. I'm like,
yeah, it's there. I think it's there.
cool. Um, man, y'all. So this is a good friend of mine, Tom Hoge.
Hogue.
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 You know why I messed that up, right?
I would like you to
Fucking
tell me.
that's Sal. That's Sal's fault.
Oh, I'm not. I wasn't gonna call him out. You know better than that. I caught that shit, and I was like, "Oh, I'm really happy," but oh, but
Yeah,
I wasn't saying shit. He's the
yeah.
boss.
No, right, but it's hey, that's it's just funny. Like I was like, but I think you did well with what because I mean, your last name. You look at it, I'm like, okay, so when
Yeah.
the first time I saw it, I was like, is it Tom Hodge? Like,
You get
you know what I'm saying? Like
Hoagie,
mine,
Hog, Hodge. There's no D, but you get Hodge. Like I said,
yeah.
I give everyone a little bit of grace, but
Same.
it's
Look at
okay.
mine, dude. Look at mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love it. It's freaking. That's when I
So,
was younger. Freaking the way that my first name is spelled. I used to get so mad because people would call me Geoff, and then like Jeffrey the giraffe,
hmm
and I was just like,
oh,
yeah, oh yeah, freaking. Um, but man, so recently you were announced one of First Form's newest sponsored athletes, brand
I
ambassadors,
was,
and
I was along with you,
um,
sir.
yes, sir. And it's such an exciting thing, man. Because I think of when I think about this experience and where we are. I think back to my first trip to. I don't know what trip that was for you when we went to did the athlete weekend at the
hmm
beginning of last year. It got canceled. Our initial trip, but then we made it, and it was you, Devin, Matt Cable, Chris,
hmm
Allie, Rachel, Anita, all these Kwaku, and when I
Forgetting,
think back to that, huh?
said forgetting some names, trying to figure them all out.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to figure them all out, and I'm like, shit. Okay, I'm not gonna stress on it too bad. If I forgot your
Yeah,
name, I'm sorry, but uh, I'll just blame it on the TBI. Like man, I got blown up a couple times back in the day, so you just got to give me some grace on that.
exactly.
Think back to that, and I think about where we are now, man. Like you don't necessarily know what the outcome's going to be or um what the reward's going to be, and I don't we I think that we all do this for a reason, but it's so awesome whenever you get this kind of reward and you get like you get a contract, you get the benefits like of all the hard work of when other people didn't believe in you and you continue to believe in yourself and work towards that journey. Um what were some of the things that went through your head of like when the announcement was made? What were you doing? Like what was like I know what I was doing. We were on our way to Publix to get a prescription for Jazz for her wisdom tooth being pulled, and that was when I found out that's when Jeff called me and he's like, "Bro, did you hear the announcement?" And I was like, and I mean, it's a little bit longer conversation than that, but I
Of
was like,
course.
no, yeah, I didn't hear it, and I mean, I broke down crying and everything. I was like, for
Yeah.
probably sending messages to people, and I'm just like, for a good 24 hours, I'm all jacked up emotionally and stuff like that. But I'd like you to share your experience with that, and as well as any other things of the journey to getting to this point.
Yeah, so like that was my first time at HQ with you and in the whole group. Mine was actually weird because I had gotten the go ahead that I was going to go because that first group that we went with was supposed to be split in two, and I got picked with I think you, Chris. I'm not going to go through all the names. The first
Right.
group I'll say, and literally the week before we were supposed to go, I got COVID,
Yeah, I
and
remember
so
that.
yep. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not going. I guess everything is all this we worked for. I'm not. I don't get to go now. I'm like, but it is what it is. This is my road. That's kind of how I look at everything. Is we all go through different things. Everyone has to, whether you got to work harder, not as hard, you get this, get that, whatever it is. It's your road you got to walk. And so this was mine. Like, hey, I thought I got it. I didn't. Oh, well, I've been doing the work since that, before. I'm going to keep doing it now. Then literally a couple of weeks later, they announced they're sending, a couple more, and they're just going to put me on that one. I'm like, oh, that works. And then lo and behold, too much COVID stuff happened. They canceled your guys' trip, and they kind of put us all in February. And that was, like I said, the first time I was there. Then fast
For the
forward a whole
better,
year.
I think, because if you
Yeah.
would have went on that
Oh
separate
yeah.
trip, dude, like, and I think about this, I'm like, bro, having the opportunity to connect with you and be part of that trip with you was just like, I think it helped us build a bond. For one, it was just good that we got to have everybody there. I think it just was beneficial.
I agree. I think they tried keeping it small, but putting the two groups together really, like you said, it built a bond. Um, and I really think it pulled us together. Like you said, we all kind of came in contact prior to the visit on Instagram's messages, just kind of met, kind of chatted, bullshitted, and basically introduced ourselves and tried building a bond already, prior to that. So when we did show up, it wasn't to a whole bunch of strangers. You know what I mean? We already kind of had something going, and that was great. And then I think it's even cooler that we all kind of stayed in touch. So we, like you said, we've built a bond. We have slowly throughout all this pushing for the same thing, still had each other's back, support, and really tried to make sure no one falls off and everyone keeps grinding. Which I'm pretty sure there isn't a single person that's let up, which is great to see.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, man. And talking about the grind and people falling off or whatever through your journey, you've got an interesting story about that with like not getting results for a long time. And this is one of the things I thought was like I didn't know, and freaking, before we came on here live and you were sharing that with me, I didn't know that about you. And that's, how does somebody grind for 10 years, 10 plus years, and struggling with not getting the results that they are seeking? How does somebody stay on that path? And if you want to share that with us.
Sure. What you're talking about is for a long for yeah, I've been training since I was like 13. Typical whatever you had in the garage, all the way up until now. But for like the first 15 years, I got no results. I would try eating as much as I could. I'm pretty ectomorphic, which basically means it's very difficult to gain weight. That's just my genetics that I have. But there was something off. Like everything I would eat, I just would not gain weight. And if I did, it was maybe 5 pounds if I was lucky. Like I never gained that beginner 15, 20 that you always hear about gaining when you are trying to put on weight and doing everything you're supposed to. But like I said, so I just would work out and work out and work out, and I wanted the result. I wanted to look a certain way. I was always the weak kid. I was always the small kid. I think I graduated high school. I was like 150 pounds and I was 6'2". I was just small, and I did not want to be small. To me, small felt weak. Small was, so. Like I said, you couldn't do things. Like I said, you weren't looked at as someone powerful, and I don't know what psychologically I needed that for, but it was there. So, like I said, I would just grind and work out and work out and work out, and eventually I would injure myself. Like I would tear a shoulder, and then I would have to do rehab, and then I would rehab, and then again try to eat more food, try to put on weight, whatever. I get strong to a certain point. I actually joined CrossFit for a little while, started trying to CrossFit Open, tore both my shoulders. So again, rehab. Everything was basically I would get to his plateau, and then I would injure myself. No matter what it was, I could not surpass it. And like I said, I would gain little bits of weight here and there, but it was never. I could never even look the way I wanted. Like I did, fast forward a little bit, like some fashion modeling, um, here, Italy, stuff like that. But I still couldn't get that like shredded look that you're typically supposed to have. And again, I just couldn't figure it out. Then I had kids. Fast forward some more, and I was always tired. Always tired. By the time I get home from work, I just didn't have it in me. So I'm like, something's got to be wrong. And I decided to go to the doctor. I hadn't been to the doctor in forever. I don't typically like the doctor back then anyway. It's changed quite a bit now. Now I love the doctor, but got some blood work, and lo and behold, I had the testosterone of a 70-year-old man. He asked me, know a little bit more backstory about my history of my medical history, I have a family. What do you call that?
History?
Yeah, family history. I guess that makes sense. Family history of thyroid issues. I did have a biopsy. We thought there might be some cancer. There was no cancer, but he said my thyroid just doesn't work properly, which I had no idea at 20 years old that severely screws up your hormones. So basically, from 20 to about 31, I had the testosterone of a 7-year-old man, which is why I wasn't getting results, which is why I pushed my body. And eventually, I didn't have that building block to grow. So it would all basically overwork, overtrain, and then injure myself. And literally was just that cycle that would repeat. So once I actually went to that doctor, researched, um, he did ask if I had kids ready, if I was, trying to have kids, because if you are on TRT, they recommend you not get on TRT if you're trying to have kids. But yeah, got on TRT, and lo and behold, I went from about 175 pounds to about 240, and here we are.
So,
So
if for the people that don't, um, if you've never seen Tom like in person, I don't know if y'all can tell, but he barely fits in the frame, shoulder to shoulder. So,
comes
in
close.
in preparation for this for our conversation, I went and got the smallest shirt I had in my closet, so that way I could still have a little bit of oh shit, I'm not even in the frame. You know what I'm
So you
saying? Like,
pretend you're a big dude. You pretend. You just got the camera off in the corner. That's the
it,
deal.
and man, anytime that like we take pictures together or whatever, we have to make sure the camera's at a certain angle so that way he doesn't make me look like a fly. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not
So
that big. I'm not that big.
I'm just messing with you. But what was I gonna say? The okay, so like I did a protocol, and whenever I went and did my blood work and stuff like that, I was low on T. I was struggling with like energy, and like
hmm
honestly, I was struggling with like depression and stuff like that. Where is that one of the things? Like you said, you were tired, you were like losing energy and stuff like that. But where did like the mindset go? Like I mean, it's kind of insane, not insane, but it's interesting to me that like you were able to because when you don't have energy, how you were able to continue to keep training and keep training and keep training, keep trying and keep trying, like that's almost the definition of insanity. You know what I'm saying? They talk
hmm
about the insanity and like and in the world in the drug world of like addiction, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result without changing people, places, things, your mentality and stuff like that. But like, and this is something else. This is something completely different, a whole different mindset of like dealing with the lack of energy and stuff like that. How long did it take, like once you develop your protocol or once you went through your protocol to like start to feel better? To how long did it take for you to actually start seeing gains?
So the problem with me was I don't usually keep things very consistent. So like you said, like the the ability to keep grinding, like I was that determined to get the results. So I would go from working out once a day for an hour, and that wouldn't be enough. So then it'd be 2 hours, and then that wasn't enough. So I would do 2 a days, where I'd wake up at 4, go to the gym, work out, go home, work overtime, go play with the kids, then go to the gym again. Do all just trying to get more work in to get a more result. And as most of us know, it's the recovery that creates the growth, and not necessarily all of the working out.
Hmm.
Like there was actually one point where I would go to like LA Fitness, work out for an hour and a half, then go straight from LA Fitness to a CrossFit gym and go to the CrossFit workout 5 days a week. Just because, like I said, I figured more was better. Like I'm taking all the right stuff, I'm doing all the right things, but obviously that's more and more. So, like I said, once again, overtraining, which led to injury. So as far as the protocol, though, I first went to the HRT specialist that I go to, and yeah, they did say I was very, very low in like the high 200s for total testosterone, which the ideal range I think is anywhere from like
750.
7 to 1200. Yeah, 750 to 1200 or something like that. So that's below half of where you should be. And then it took me, I think, almost about a year, because if anyone doesn't know, when you put exogenous testosterone in your body, that's basically like you're filling your tank. So over the course of the week, as you do train, you slowly deplete your tank because you're using it. Your body's not making it, so you're using what they put inside you.
Mhm.
Well, so if they started out me at 150 and that wasn't enough to go up because you'd get tested every 6 weeks, your blood again to evaluate where your number was now, and it would barely jump. So we'd go to 170, and then we go to 180 because you can't jump in big increments because they don't want to give you too much. So we ended up just going over and over, and eventually we had landed. I think I'm at about 270 a week, and that keeps me in a healthy range. I'm not exactly sure what range we now. We
Mhm.
test every 6 months,
Yeah,
but it took
same.
it took about it did take about a year to I think a year and 3 months, something like that, to finally hone in on that. Because the problem too was once I the same time that I actually jumped on HRT was the same time I did my first show. And like I said, when you burn through it, then your number is going to kind of get skewed depending on how much is in your blood. So when I was doing my show, I would do an hour session of cardio at 4 in the morning, work overtime, go to a 2 hour gym session, come home, play with the kids, hang out with the wife, and then go back to the gym for another hour cardio session. And that was for 6 weeks straight.
My
And that
man
was why we
Kobe
that's why we were
Bryant.
so it was intense. It was intense. Like I haven't done 75 hard, but I know exactly what 75 hard is. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
Like it's like that type of lifestyle, like doing a contest prep where there is no cheating, there is no room for failure, there's no room for any slack. Like it's very equal, I would say. Like I said, I won't say it's equal because I know 75 hard is its own thing, but I know what people are going through, so to speak.
Well,
Um,
it's like so the dedication to a sport and stuff like that, being an athlete, being able
mhm,
to like I don't, a lot of people claim they're athlete and stuff like that, but yet when you don't compete, it's hard to actually understand like once you get to like when you dedicate everything to this to get to a certain point of what it means to be in competition against if you didn't like it's not the competition that that gives you the trophy. It's not the competition that gives you the
no,
placement.
hmm,
It's all the work that you did before that nobody else sees.
right,
It's all the suffering, it's all the things that you had to overcome to get to that point
hmm,
of 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 championships. I don't know if you know who Greg Plitt is, but this is one of the guys that like whenever I first saw their physique, I was like, "Oh, he's the guy that played in Watchmen." I don't remember what the blue character was, but he was
oh
like
yeah,
always naked.
yeah,
That's
okay,
Greg Plitt, right? So,
uh,
um let's see. So where was I going with that? It's the first person I saw that I wanted to like build my physique, and so I would image in my head, I would visualize that, and I was like, okay, so I have to work hard. I have to do this. I have to do that. You know what I'm saying? And he said, championships aren't won. This is what I was trying to say before I got sidetracked. Championships aren't won in the arena. They're won in the thousands of hours and
hmm,
the training centers and the labs and like people see the competition, but yet they don't see what the PT, they don't
yeah,
see the stress fractures, they don't see or they
right,
don't feel the pain that you go through to push yourself to hypertrophy or to push yourself to
yeah.
this point. They don't
They
see
see
the
they see the result. They see
all
the
they see
result.
is the result and they
They don't
forget
see the
about
work.
everything
They
else.
don't see the
They never
work.
see the work,
No,
you know.
they don't
So what you
understand it. Like, and they don't understand what it takes to keep that consistent. To literally grind every day in day out. Doesn't matter. Like a big thing, like, especially like with coaching too, is like when you're coaching people, you have like it's more about trying to get them to understand that it's monotonous. There's a lot like motivation gets you so far. It's not always fun. 80% of the time, it's not fun. But if you want that result, you shut up and you just do the work.
yeah.
There's no other option. If you
It's
want the result, just do the work. And like,
yeah.
don't. There are no excuses. Like everyone, like I just said, I have kids, I have a wife, I have work, I have all the, I have first
Bro.
form requirements. You have all that stuff. They're like, well, then just don't go to the gym. What? No,
What?
no, because that's
Yeah.
that's a priority. Oh, you want to gain muscle? It's a priority. Oh well, don't meal prep. No. Meal prepping has to be a priority because if my goals are a priority, that's part of it to get me to my goals.
Yes.
Everything becomes a priority, especially bodybuilding, because
Well, you can't
everything
track. Yeah, if you don't
you
track,
have
you
to
can't manage it.
everything
Everything.
everything's got to be good.
You have to be in
Water's got
control
to
of
be good.
everything.
Everything. You can't be like, oh, like perfect example. Last night we went out for food. I ate almost nothing during the day, knowing I was about to smash some wings.
Yeah.
Like just because if I didn't, I would go over my numbers and it would be sloppy, and I can't, like you said, check off a win box, so to speak. If I just say, oh, whatever, it's cool, I'm going out, it's special. No, adjust. If you want the result, do the work.
You know what I think kills a lot of people's gains? And there's a question for you in the comments that I'm about to pop up, but I think you kind of
Oh.
partially just answered it. I think the thing that kills a lot of people's gains is that fifth macronutrient.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not just
Yeah.
the gains, but what it does up here. So you were kind of
Yeah.
sharing that with me
Oh.
a little earlier
Oh
about
yeah.
about last night, and if you
Yeah.
want to talk about that a little bit, because I mean, bro, we
Sure.
don't have time to use, um, and I'm just going to keep saying the macronutrient because I know
Yeah.
people don't know what that is. Because I remember you talking about it the first time, and I was like, "What is the fifth macronutrient?" And you were like, "Ah, you haven't been on the calls, have you?" So and then I had to start. Yeah, I had to start leveling up. You know, so
Yeah.
but could you explain to us the fifth macronutrient and what?
So the fifth macronutrient is alcohol. And I definitely tracked it um, as best I could. Uh, but like you said, it messes with your mind. Like you can track it, and you can make it a point to make sure nutrition wise you cover it because it does add up differently than other macronutrients. However, with your mind, like today, I woke up before this morning to go to work. I skipped the gym yesterday because I have because it was not enough time, but I have a leeway for myself that I don't work out on Saturdays, so I can shift that over. Just gives me an extra rest day. It's fine. But I do not want to go to the gym today. I wouldn't say hungover, but all the wings and all the beer has screwed up my digestion, so my head's just not in it. But
Yeah.
like I said, if you want the result, do the work. So I will muster up the ability somewhere, the energy somewhere, a little bit of pre-workout, and I will
Hey,
go and
double
I'll go
scoop
through my
that
work.
project one or something like that.
Something like that. And it's of course it's a leg day, which makes it even worse, but the work will get done
Oh
because
Jesus.
it's gotta happen.
Yeah. Never skip leg day, right?
Mm-mm.
So I got a guy. Boom. Tommy, I have the same issue. I eat and eat, and if I do gain, it lasts a couple days. I've been 145 since like sixth grade. Is there any like secrets to gaining weight, making it stick, and what exactly is CRT? Okay, so he misunderstood what you said. That it's HRT or
Yeah,
TRT.
HRT or TRT. That's hormone replacement therapy or testosterone replacement therapy. Basically, what happens is your body does not produce enough testosterone naturally, and mine doesn't. Like I said, I have a thyroid issue, and it also just over time as you get older, your testosterone falls, below just where it should be. So through blood work and going to the doctor, you can get that checked. I'd have to know how old you were to really try to, see if it's even worth looking into. Like I said, usually 35 plus. Like you start losing your testosterone, I think at about like 27 years old. But a lot of people don't have kids. A lot of people aren't finished having families. And like I said, they do recommend that if you are looking to have kids, you don't get on it yet. Just because, like I said, it does mess with your natural testosterone, which also messes with your sperm count. So I don't know if you want to get that scientific on this call. But back to the main question. Um, I kind of look at. I had a pretty harsh coach. Actually, my last coach, he's amazing. One of the best coaches there is in the world for bodybuilding, and he kind of sums this up without trying to hurt feelings because it didn't. I mean, it is what it is. You only are not growing for two reasons. You're either not training hard enough or you're not eating enough. Plain and simple. So if you are having troubles keeping the weight on, eat more.
Tom, hey, just this dude's macros. Hey, just
Yeah, it's a lot. It's actually not bad now. It's not bad now. I had to cut back some, but it's not bad. Yeah, like so. Just to put in perspective,
He's enough for a small family by himself.
this is true. Uh, at one point, like I said, when I was with that coach, because we were trying, I'd been in a bulking phase for about a year and a half when I first signed with him because it just wasn't happening anymore. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe let me get this expert and see what we can do. We gained weight, but I was eating 6,500 calories a day and 6,000 calories on my rest days. So it's a lot of food, and it was all clean food. It wasn't garbage. This is like he gave me a meal plan,
So that's
gave me the foods to
legitimately
eat.
people don't understand the difference between the whole
No,
foods of like how much whole food that is.
oh,
That's a
I
lot
could,
of
I could eat
food
6,500 calories of like Burger King and stuff like that in a matter of
in one
hours.
sitting. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, a
seriously.
couple sitting like the 3/4 pounders and stuff like that, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, but eating like literally eating 2,000 calories in a meal is not fun. But I gained weight.
Yeah, make it happen.
Yeah,
To-
he told me this is a plan, so follow it, and I did.
Um, and yeah, anybody that has questions for Tom about HRT, the names that are on the handles that are on the screen, whether it's mine or Tom's, that's how you can catch him on IG. Um, and then on I'll let you talk about that later and stuff like that. But any other personal questions like that y'all would have for him outside of if you forget about it during the chat or if you don't catch this live, you can always shoot him a DM, and I'm sure he'll be happy to answer those questions and stuff like that as well. Let's see. I wanted to say something. Oh man, so what are your feelings on like? I know we've talked a little, not much, but I use BPC 157 and
Hmm.
stuff like that. Do you use that stuff daily also? Is that one of the things that's part of your protocol, or how do you feel about some of the
The
peptides
peptides and
and
stuff.
like yeah.
I honestly think they're phenomenal, especially when they are so specific. I have used that BPC 157. I have a ongoing patellar tendon issue, probably for the past year and a half. Um, I was told by the doctors just stretch. I didn't listen. I was just hoping they would inject me with something in my like one cortisol shot in my knee and fix me, but they wouldn't. So I just went on basically just training harder. Like it basically problem was I like I said I'm too stupid to slow down. I'm too stupid to quit.
Yeah.
Like I said I won't accept less than what I know I can do. So I would go to the gym and I would squat and it would hurt really bad. Yes, James, eat your ass off.
Yes.
So I would squat, and I could barely walk the next day. And okay, well that just means eventually got to a point where it was unbearable, and then I would do box squats because at least I'm not going below parallel where I thought it was a problem. And then box squats wouldn't cut it, and then I had to go to the leg press, and then I was doing single leg. So I'm like, all right, well that's still I feel like giving it a high output. Well, then the knee couldn't handle that, and then it would be regular leg press, and then the knee couldn't handle that, and then I go to leg extensions, and then the knee couldn't handle that, and basically got to the point where I couldn't do anything with my legs. So I'm like, right, I got to do something. So I found this BPC 157, and I started using that. So like I had never injected myself with anything before, but it was a little what do you call that, like an insulin syringe.
Insulin. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
really
tiny.
tiny. Yeah, tiny. You just inject it basically subcutaneous, so underneath the skin. I did that, and after I think it took about maybe 2 weeks, so I started giving like the leg extensions a try, and it wasn't terrible. I went lightweight, higher reps, just kind of more, and then I started doing some stretching, being a little more smart with my rehab, and basically just got stop being so dumb. I have the problem where, like I said, I'm kind of a meathead in that regard, where I just want to push. So I pulled back, did some stretching, did some mobility work using the BPC 157, doubling my omega 3s. I actually started taking a joint supplement. And after all of that, like I said, it slowly started coming back. And I'm now finally, I'm done with the BBC 157. Um, but I now finally am squatting again. So
Hmm.
I do credit it a lot to, I think, that, because I do think that was the initial start that helped me kind of heal it. And then like I said, with the extra rehab stuff of like I would heat it. I would heat the muscle up all around my knee before I do the stretching, so it actually allow my muscle to actually stretch and not just my tendon and put more pressure on it and create that inflammation again. So like once I got those my quads more relaxed, more flexible, my hamstrings, everything, there was less tension and pressure on that tendon. So I think that's really helped me recover and be able to get back to where I was.
Dude, you ever do curtsy squat lunges, whatever? They're a little
That's
funny,
the
but
yeah, the angle's tough. That angle's tough
yeah,
for me.
the man, one of the ways that I do that is like I try because it's not really easy for me to just like not that I have big legs or anything like that,
Hmm.
but like when instead of just like stepping behind my knee, I try to like take a backwards 45-degree angle step and
Right.
then go like towards where that way I can go super deep. You know what I'm saying? It kind of gives my
Hmm.
knee a nice stretch
Yeah.
and trying to focus on the knee your front leg maintaining a straight up and down. It strengthens a lot of stuff with the knee and doing that. My PT advised me on that, and that's been a game changer. Well, I mean, I do all
Try
this
that.
dance training and stuff
I
like that.
know.
This ballet and stuff.
I
You,
see it.
so bar classes have been huge for me. Bar classes, yoga and stuff like that. That has helped me
Hmm.
tremendously, and I still get injured. You know what I'm saying? But it's probably
Yeah.
the lack of. I don't want to say the lack of sleep. I've been focusing a lot on sleep. I'll tell you one thing that really helped change the game for me with my sleep and performance was Tessamorelin, Ipamorelin. I call
Hmm.
it the Tessa
Yeah.
Ipa combo. Man, expensive, but
Yeah.
worth it. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
man, my sleep quality drastically improved whenever I started using that. Like immediately, night number one.
Yeah.
They were like, "Look, when you take this, um, freaking, be within like 30 minutes to an hour of going to bed or whatever." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So I take my CBD supplement. I take this, bro, and I get like legit, well over 3 hours of like REM and deep combined.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I know that like where my recovery would typically be anywhere between like red and yellow on average with Whoop
Hmm.
to now it's like I have
Full
more
grain.
green days than I do the other ones. Like I might be in the red for like a day or two. Like I caught COVID. And when I caught COVID and then I started the day that I ran fever, my recovery was literally 1%. I was like, yeah, well, and then I'm doing
Makes
75
sense.
hard at this point, and and I'm like trying to like because I didn't want to hear I hate hearing excuses from people. So I was like, one thing I'm
Hmm.
gonna do is I'm gonna freaking grind through COVID, right? So I'm going out and I'm doing this 45-minute walk, cycling for freaking 45 minutes. And that was like easier on me because at the time that I was doing 75 hard is right around the time that I did two back-to-back ultra marathons also. And I strained my whole posterior chain, my lower back, my glute, my hamstring. And so it wasn't really fun for me to walk. Plus, I was running like
Sure.
100 and something fever. I forgot what it was, 102, 103. And then putting a hoodie on and then going cycling and then coming back and just being like, I actually felt better by doing that. That was actually like, because I mean, when you exercise, it releases endorphins in your brain and
Hmm.
in your mind and stuff like that. But,
Moves your blood around, helps the nutrients get where they got to go. As long as you're not overexerting yourself, it's all good.
and it was so hard to drink the water because I was
Oh yeah.
like, because I wasn't going to the training sessions. I wasn't going, like when I go to yoga, dude, I'm going to drink a half of a gallon of water in hot yoga because you're
Hmm.
sweating so much, and then,
Yeah.
um, man, that's just like what was where you have a little bit of a home gym, so you were able to kind of grind. You're able to kind of do a lot of grinding at your crib, right?
Yeah, actually, like the first my that first show I talked about, I only worked out in my basement, and like actually the only reason I had the home gym, like, because like I said, I have kids, and I don't like I said I will not accept like gym fitness. It is my life. It's been my life my whole life. So, well, now we're gonna have a baby. I'm like, well, that means I'm not gonna be able to sneak away to the gym for 2 hours a day. Like that's not gonna that's not gonna happen. Wife's not gonna accept that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I need to figure that problem out. Which I already had a barbell, I had some weights, but I'm like, well, that's not enough for what I'm aiming for. So let's start, looking all over Let Go and Facebook Marketplace, and eventually found a cable machine that was cheap enough, and bought some of the old school adjustable dumbbells, like, where you got to unscrew them and all that from Play Against Sports, and we had a little room in the basement that was ideal for it, and turned it into a really nice home gym now.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that I was gonna. I was like, where'd you get your stuff from? Like, so well, you use like Facebook Marketplace,
Hmm.
Let Go, and generally you can run across some really good deals on
Yeah.
there to find pretty much whatever you need. That's I found quite a bit of stuff on there, man. Actually, that's what I bought my Suzuki 600
I've seen that.
off of Marketplace. I was
Hey,
like,
it
just
works,
scrolling,
man.
man. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go and buy one from a dealership. Next thing I know, I'm like, let me check the marketplace, see what
Hmm.
That's all the true hustlers use a little bit of some Facebook Marketplace, man. You
Yeah,
gotta
man.
you gotta get
It
it in on
works.
there.
It worked.
Um, man. So talking about, I was just kind of thinking the alcohol and stuff like that. I I had battled with starting drinking again around like November. Well, not that was when I stopped again. So I have a lot of fun whenever I drink, but sometimes fun like it can kind of like gain a little bit of power over you,
Hmm.
So I struggled with that, and then like I got to my like 90 days away from drinking, and that was when they made the announcement for the brand ambassador thing, and it's cool because like you think about and the point I'm trying to make behind this is like our power list, like executing things on a 30, 60, 90-day schedule and stuff like that. Basically, kind of like a fast and a furious lifestyle. We live our life 1/4 mile at a time. Well, we live our life 1/4 year at a time. Okay. So,
Yeah.
you know, what does your 30, 60, 90 look like? What do you execute on those? What are the foundation, like the building blocks? Like if somebody was to try to like mimic your lifestyle, what are the things that you think, or that you do on a daily basis that you create wins with, that you execute consistently over time, over a long period of time, that get you uh to where you're at?
So, I guess that maybe this could be a very, very large topic. So, are you talking about maybe just like my physique goals, or like my overall life goals? Or I said this could, because one
Yeah,
one can be really like I said, this can get really large.
right. No, okay. The things that get you to, let's just say, what do you the things that you execute on a daily basis, like for your do you have a power list? Like just like
Yeah,
five things that you use as a staple every day, and how does that push you forward? If that makes Does that make sense? Did I word
yeah,
it better?
yeah, that can make sense. But well, basically, like with everything that I'm trying to do, I set up my power list so that if I can on my side of things know that it may be an issue, that's when it goes on there. And I make sure that I look at those tasks per day and I figure out where I can fit them in so I will not forget them. Like, cause my day is pretty full. Like, whether, I already wake up, like everyone always says, we'll wake up early. I already wake up at 4 in the morning, 3:45. I can't wake up too much earlier if I'm also worried about my bodybuilding and recovery and proper sleep and making sure my hormones are all on point. And I can't go to bed too much earlier than I do because my day also needs to have family time, which is like my 9 to 10 o'clock is wife time. That's when me and my wife get to sit and have our time alone because the kids are from 8:30. Before that, like I said, everything is dealt. Like for my life to work, everything is very delegated. Everything has a place. Everything has a time. So to make sure that those little tasks that are going to project me further, whether it be checking in with clients or going and doing the other individual things that I have to do, knowing that those are going to push the endeavors that I'm in further. I have to tie those in. I have to make sure that I have things that I have to schedule with other people, that those happen in the car. So that isn't because I work an hour away from work. So the ride in, that's some continuing education where I can, whether it's a podcast, the VT that you are aware of, like whatever it is, that's an hour of me literally doing nothing. So I can toss it on the speakers, and I'm getting something done. Right home, again, I can set up a group call, some of my client calls, whatever I've got to do that day, to make sure those things get done. It's a gap in my day where it's an empty space with all the things I have going on. Like I said, with business, work, kids, family, I can't have empty space. There is no empty space. Like so, and especially as the kids get older, that little bit of empty space that is there slowly gets smaller and smaller. So I have to be more diligent, more dedicated, that no matter what, nothing gets in the way. Like I can't just kind of throw it off and like, oh well, I don't want to do it today. I can do it tomorrow. Like, well, no, there is no time tomorrow. You have to do it today. So it's basically the way I kind of set up my days is so I don't allow that flexibility in there to allow failure. And if I do fail, I acknowledge it, and then I will reassess what I did
And
wrong.
correct it and go forward.
Exactly, because if I let that compound, I'll get nothing done and I'll fall short.
Mhm.
And for me, and especially with my goals that I have at the moment, there is no falling short. There is no room to fall short because I will not accept it.
Yeah.
Just because I have those goals, and those goals mean a lot to me. So
What are some goals that you have that are like out of this world that people might think that you're crazy for? 'Cause I know with like when like at the top of my vision board, you vision board, right?
mhm,
So with at the top of my vision board, I have the elite athlete, right? The
mhm,
the elite athlete spot, and now that's something that we have a common interest in, right? We
mhm.
both want that. We both want those locker nameplates at
Yes, sir.
HQ.
Yes,
So,
sir.
um, and then under that, I have number one best selling book, and then top 100 US podcasts, Apple Podcasts top charts, and then there's some material things under that.
Mhm.
The material things under that, come from the basically they get fed or created by the top things on your vision board and your mentality that's going to get you to that place.
Sure.
Um, like for me, this like executing the podcast, like or executing on this channel, are one of the things that okay, well, I might not know how to create this. I might not be the best at what I do right now, but I can't fear that failure. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I have to be able to believe in the end goal. And then you have to have that vision. Like my vision board's right here in front of me. So I see it every time that I sit down right here and I come in here literally every day.
Mhm.
What are some and like so what my bad. When I first put these on there, I guarantee you that people looked at it like this motherfucker ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
he's just, like
Mhm.
and my goals when I first started doing this were like literally when I got out of the when I got out released and I got out of the VA at Biloxi and stuff like that. My goals were literally to I didn't want to be sticking needles in my arm anymore. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I didn't want to be selling drugs and stuff like that. Like so that was like my big vision board at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
that was my big goals. If I could just get to this, okay, well now that you created that, you know, um, but anyway, what are some things that you have accomplished that at one point people looked at and were like, you were the only one that believed in it.
There's been a lot of those, but there's also been points where, uh, through growth in those endeavors, I realized they weren't for me, kind of things.
Okay.
Like, I wanted to be an actor, and everyone laughs at that kind of scenario because you're never going to be Brad Pitt, you're never going to be those people, right? And everyone thinks it's a joke when you say you want to be one, right? That's pretty typical. And well, I ended up getting some acting roles here and there, like they're decent ones where you're there for a while, and the longer I was on sets and the longer you realize you just sit around doing nothing, 95% of the time I was like, this is not for me. I can't do this. I can't just go and have one line and then okay, we'll call you when we need you. We have to sit, create the new set. and you're sitting there for an hour and a half. Like, all right, we're ready for you. Okay, you're there for 30 seconds. All right, we'll call you another hour. Like, nope, not for me. I'm out. I done modeling. Same thing. Like, you ain't pretty. I'm like, but, well, this agent said he saw different. So let's see what's going on. Well, again, everyone thinks you're a fool. You're not whoever you want to correlate to being a famous successful model, whatever. But I lived in Italy for a summer, got work, did the whole thing. Like, so I was like, well, proved you wrong there too, didn't I? So a lot of these things were, like, and like I said, like a big thing I think with this elite athlete, um, I've always been on these teams like growing up where it was always like a championship team, like whatever it was, whatever, baseball, whatever it was. We tended to go really far, and it was always this thing that was brought up that, well, it wasn't because of you. Like, you weren't the star on the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, well, yeah, like, yeah, but you played you played outfield. That don't matter. You couldn't hit all this bullshit. You know what I mean? That people get just because it's, like I said, it's bullshit. Well, I think that puts something in me. Like, well, I'm going to show you wrong. I'm going to prove you I am an athlete, and no one's going to stop me. And I
Yeah.
haven't got that. And I haven't got that yet. So that's definitely something that is still on the list, obviously. But like I said, if you want it, do the work, and you'll get it. And like I said, me and you both have come a long way, and I think we've proven people wrong in the endeavor, and we're going to keep proving them wrong until we get what we want.
100%. Man, dude, like, if you fear, like, how do I say that? Like, in life, you can fail at doing something you don't love. So
Mm-hmm.
you might as well fail at doing something you do love. I heard Jim
That's
Carrey
good.
say that.
That's good.
You know
That's
what I'm
good.
saying? Like, you should never fear, because, dude, like, I've heard Sal say this, man. This is like massive to me. And this might not be verbatim, but it's going to be real close. I'm sure you could probably remember it. Maybe once I say it is go for broke because you just might hit it big or something
Maybe
like that.
that's close. I think that sounds familiar.
What does that? I mean, it's like that freaking, like when I hear that term and I hear you talk about these things with our big goals and stuff like that. Like that's what I think about. Like
Yeah.
I can literally hear Sal saying that. Like whenever I'm doing like a long run or something like that, or like for you with an intense training session, go like I can literally hear that. Maybe there's like I feel like Sal's got this like little 1-inch mosquito that comes around to all of us, and it kind of just whispers in your ear, "Go for
Yeah.
broke, motherfucker."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Well, I think
because
a big thing was like I always like. Do you remember like when you were growing up? Like every adult would always tell you like, "Oh, wait till you get older," or "Hey, like travel before you get older. You're never going to do it." Like all those kind of cliche things that adults would say when you were younger.
yeah,
Basically, like that. Like for me, when I was growing up, that really hit a nerve. I think because like it was like, okay, you have to experience everything you possibly can in this world, and that's what I've tried to live my life by. And I think I crossed off a lot of things when I was young, just like whether it be traveling or like I said, act like, hey, I want to be an actor. Okay, go do it. Go experience it.
you got to see
'Cause
part of
you'll
that
never
life and
know.
see what that was
You'll never
about. Yeah,
know. You'll never know if you miss something you were supposed to be doing because you chose not to. You chose not to experience it. You like I said, like my Facebook group is Pro Fail Fitness. The Pro Fail literally stands for that. Be a professional failure. It's okay to
oh, I
try for
love that.
something. It's okay to try to be something and not succeed. It's always okay to fail at something just because but if you try, it's never a failure. You learn from everything. So go ahead, like I said, be a professional failure in that regard. Like don't seek failure, but it's okay that you failed when if as long as you gave something your everything.
Yeah,
Because then you can really see if it was for you or not.
man, I like that. I didn't I didn't know, like now that I'm hearing you say that, I really look, I thought that the name behind your Facebook group was more like seeking the failure of like, the workout and stuff like that or whatever. That's what I had attributed it to. But now that hearing this, I freaking I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to,
But
because I
maybe
mean,
it's both because I do that in the gym too.
yeah.
So
Well, I mean, if you're not seeking, so that's the one thing. It's like, you
yeah,
know, if you
so it
don't,
correlates well.
yes, exactly, exactly. You have to go to failure. If your sets don't go to
Hmm.
failure, you're not going to grow. Or I don't want
Right.
to say, yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to
Like
go
that comes
failure.
back to what we were talking about a minute ago. Like what do you like? How do you seek little wins? Like the gym is my little wins every day, every single set. Like the way my training's set up is I use a logbook, and every session, no matter what it is, I have to beat the prior session. Like that's what every single set is for. Like set one, I have to beat the last set one. Set two, I have to beat the last set two. Like there is
That's
no
that like
option.
compound factor. That's
Yeah,
that
like
building
it's
thing, you know?
progressive overload. There's a lot of specifics behind it, training wise, like vocabulary, but it's basically about for me if I can walk out of that gym and hit I don't know 7 out of 10 sets were victories. That's a win. Like those, and then you can literally grade that every day. It's an everyday thing where you're growing, you're pushing yourself, you're giving. It's like the gym is somewhere where, like for me, it's I can go there and know that I've given everything I could to something every day,
Dude,
and
if you look at, go ahead.
as I was saying, it's measurable because now you have a logbook. You can literally
Yeah.
see yourself winning,
Well, like we talk about with nutrition, you can't manage what you don't track.
right?
You know, um, when you look at pro sports and they have statistics and stuff like that or whatever, look at the rate of failure. Like you look
Hmm.
at a good batting average. If a person's batting 500 in professional sports,
It's unheard
like
of.
that's like
That's like
next to
unheard.
unheard.
That's unheard of.
That's okay. So, and that's like awesome. You were like, holy
Hmm.
shit, dude, you batting a 500.
Yeah.
But a great batting average is actually like 350, 300. That
Hmm.
you're still exceptional. So
Hmm.
that's a 70% failure rate.
Yeah.
I mean, like more times than not, you are not getting on base. You are
Hmm.
not like productive, if you want to call it that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And that's the majority of the team. The majority of the team is 70% failure. You know what I'm saying? Or I would say like
Hmm.
probably 65 to 70, fucking 65 to 90%. You know what I'm saying? Like not
Yeah.
everybody's batting 300,
No.
you know? Like it's that's very like relatable to life in
Hmm.
every aspect. If you can't understand that failure breeds success,
Yeah.
if you think that you should win all the time, like man, you got like people get life
Yeah. Well, that's
jacked
why
up.
I love that correlation from fitness to life because you can take almost every single aspect of fitness in the gym, whatever, and correlate it to a positive in life. If you made it to the gym, you're going, you're being dedicated, you're being diligent. That will cross over to being dedicated, diligent with your family, with your work, with everything else, because you have trained yourself in your mentality to be dedicated to something, to make something a priority. If you can do that with one thing, you can do that with anything as long as you've shown yourself that you are capable of it.
Uh-huh.
And by
No,
honing that skill in the gym, you've honed that skill outside the gym. So you can literally just be a better person in general by just getting your ass to the gym.
yeah, I agree with that, man. And look, I freaking um I'm grateful for everything that you shared with me today. We're gonna pretty much wrap this up here in a minute. I know you got family stuff to go do, and you got goals to get, and I'm sure the kids, I'm sure they're ready to do some filters or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But I know it's your weekend and it's your days to kind of capitalize on time with your family. Man, last thing that I'd like to ask you is if any advice that you have for anybody on their journey, struggling, whatever, or and any mantras that you live by that you want to share with people before we wrap this up.
Yeah, well, we kind of covered most of my mantras with the whole profile thing.
Yep.
But yeah, don't quit. Anything that's hard's worth it. and just keep moving forward, no matter what, no matter what it is, what environment, what situation comes up. It doesn't matter as long as you can just bite down and keep moving forward.
Roger
It's
that.
always, it's always there's always an ability for success. You just got to find it.
And keep working towards it, man. I love
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir.
Do you want to share any of the other platforms that you have outside of, obviously your IG handle is the screen name. Is there anything you want to say about your Facebook group or anything like that with your communities?
Sure. Yeah. Obviously, the IG's right there. My Facebook group is Profile Fitness. Like I said, we are very similar to Jeff's. Jeff's got a lot of endurance stuff on there that I don't like. So keep watching his shit if you like that. I do a lot of lives. I do some training stuff. So if you have any questions about anything training by any means, like whether bodybuilding stuff, Jeff is clearly your guy for endurance. And like I said, your platform's great. I love watching your group. All your people hammer down. They really get after it way more than I do when it comes to cardio. I always see your people crushing it. But if you do have any questions at all, weightlifting or bodybuilding or anything that regard, feel free to reach out. I love talking. I love chatting, and I love answering anyone's questions.
Roger that, man. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you so
Appreciate you
much
too, man.
for coming on here and sharing some of your Saturday with me. I'm always grateful for you.
Anytime.
And all right, man. Well, I'm gonna cut it right here, and then I'll see you back in the studio in a couple seconds. All right.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Thank you, Jeff and Tom. Out.